Hi everybody, my name is John Thiel and I'd like to welcome you all to Humanities 205, the Individual and Society. I'd just like to record this really short video just to give you a quick overview of the class, a chance to get to know who I am since it's an online class. You don't get to see your instructor all that often. I want to run down some of the assignments and give you just a quick idea of what you can expect from this semester. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but I want to let you guys in on that secret. So the first thing I need to tell you is that I've taught this class for years. I've taught at Kirtland Community College since 2001. Most of the classes that I teach for Kirtland, besides this one, are history classes. And I always look forward to teaching this class because it's a nice change of pace and it's, like I've said already, it's just a lot of fun. And I want to let you know what you can expect, but I'm going to assume, and I think this is a safe assumption, that most of you watching this video right now, sitting there in this online class, have no idea what this class is about. And that's okay. When I teach this class on campus, like in a face-to-face setting, just the same thing happens. I walk in on day one and I say, okay, show of hands, how many of you have any idea what this class is about? Guess how many hands go up? Usually zero, maybe one or two, and that's okay. So I want to give you a little background on the class before we get into anything else more detailed. So a little quick story. Back in 2001, when I started teaching for Kirtland, this was a new class at the college. It hadn't been offered yet. And when they hired me in to teach history, they said, hey, we have another class we think you might enjoy. I said, okay, well, what is it? Well, it's called the Individual and Society. Okay, what's that mean? They said, we're not sure. You figure it out. I love a challenge. So what I've done is I've created this class, and it serves a fantastic purpose. It's got a great audience. Anyone who is a general education student who needs a well-rounded course. A lot of nursing students take this course because it fulfills a requirement. Some of you may or may not know that this is one of only 2 classes at Kirtland that transfers to Saginaw Valley State University as what they call a communication intensive class. Everyone who graduates with a bachelor's at SVSU needs 2 communication intensive classes. You can actually take 2 here at Kirtland. I teach both of them. This is one of those. So this has a great audience, but what it is a very well-rounded course that's probably unlike anything you've ever seen before. So one thing I always want you to think about is you've probably all taken courses in various subjects that we will actually explore this semester. You might have heard of things like sociology or history or political science, aka government, psychology, economics, anthropology. Those are all issues we'll explore in this class. But what we're not trying to do is we're not trying to become experts in any of those areas. This is what you call an interdisciplinary class. So I want to show you something up here. I've got this little display, a little visual aid for you here. I want to let you guys know what we're doing here. And to figure that out, while Ken and Barbie are there looking over our shoulder here, I want to revisit that word. I said this is an interdisciplinary class. And what that means is, as you go through your lives, even if you've ever taken, say, a government class, let's use that as an example. You probably thought to yourself, okay, great, now I know how the government works, or as the case might be, how it doesn't work. And you think, well, geez, what am I going to do with that information? When you take an interdisciplinary course like this, like I said, we're not here to become experts, say, in government or psychology or history or economics. We're here to mix those disciplines together, interdisciplinary, there's that word, to see how they matter in real life. This class is not about sitting there in your room or in an office or in the library or wherever you do your work for the online class, reading a book, taking a quiz, and just going through the motions like you may do in some other online classes. This is an interactive class that's going to actually help you apply things that we're going to discuss and read about in our course to the so-called real world. And we're going to do that in a way that's meaningful and practical and applicable and, dare I say again, fun. But one way to look at what we're going to do in this class is to ask yourself a question that I always ask my students. I always say, okay, you're here in college, and I always ask my students on day 1 of this class, what do you think college is for? What's the purpose of a college education? And most of the time I'll get answers like, well, it's there to give you a better job or to help you make more money or to advance your career. As a practical answer, it's not incorrect. And I understand why it's the primary answer I get from most students. But my approach to this class follows a secondary, in some cases, more wide-ranging answer to the question of what is college for. College education is there to help us become more well-rounded individuals, to open our minds to seeing the world in ways we might not have seen it before, to challenge our preconceptions about what the world is, what it means, how it operates. And notice I said challenge our preconceptions. I didn't say we're here to tell you that any conceptions you might have are wrong. That's not the goal. But it's to challenge us. It's to get us to think critically about the world around us. Any college course should help us think critically. And what I mean by that is you might take some classes where you have to spend a lot of time memorizing things. Okay, I'm going to memorize A plus B equals C, and then I'm going to take a quiz where I have to write down C. I have to memorize that and cram it in and put it on a test. That's not what we're doing here. Like I said, we're focusing on critical thinking. A lot of what we're going to do in this class is aimed at figuring out what these concepts that we'll explore mean to us. All right? So let me give you an example. I'm going to assume, you don't need to tell me because it's a one-way video. I'm going to assume that you sitting there watching this video have some sort of opinion about the current president of the United States. You may love the president, you may hate the president. It's entirely your call. What we're going to do in here with issues such as that's one example of something we may discuss in here, is not, okay, I have to memorize the name of the president and tell the teacher 5 things the president has done this year. That's not what we're about. Critical thinking goes beyond just memorization. If you say, okay, I think the president is great, guess what my next question for you is going to be? Okay, why? Why do you feel that way? What makes you feel that way about the president? What has the president done that makes you have that kind of reaction? In all the issues we'll explore in this class, critical thinking is going to be the key. And the whole goal, like I said, is to help us figure out what's going on in the world around us, where we fit. Remember, the class is called The Individual and Society. It's to help us figure out where we as individuals fit into the larger society. And the way we're going to do that is through a lot of interactive activities. I know it's kind of tricky. It's an online class. Most of the time you'll be sitting off in your own corner of the world doing your work. We're going to interact with each other in a lot of ways. More than you probably have done in any other online class you might have taken. It's really tricky. Most of the time when I teach this class in a face-to-face setting, it's easy. We just have discussions and we get into great arguments and debates each day in class. In an online environment, it's not quite as easy, but we're going to make it work. I've done this class online before, and we usually have great discussions on a lot of topics. But I want to get into the details of those topics as we go from week to week, and you'll get some examples of that. I'll give you one right now, just as food for thought. All right, in a couple of weeks, we're going to spend a week exploring issues related to psychology. And again, the goal is not to become experts in psychology. Heck, some of you might have taken a psych class before. So you might have heard of Sigmund Freud or the behavioral theory of stimulus response conditioning, all that kind of stuff. We're not here to become experts in that, but rather to take psychological issues and apply them to the larger society and how they matter. So just as one example, psychology discusses issues relating to the concept of intelligence. I'm going to ask you guys to tell me what you think intelligence means. Is intelligence only book smarts? Is it what you might call common sense? How is intelligence defined? How is it used in, say, a formal education setting for someone to say, well, I value this form of intelligence? How do we instruct students? How do we educate students knowing that there are different forms of intelligence out there? These are relevant real-world issues that we're going to be wrestling with in this class. But as we go through, of course, like any other class, there's work that we're going to have to do to get to the end of the semester and to achieve grades and assess your knowledge and all that kind of stuff. So I want to let you know how you can navigate your way through the class. So first thing, obviously, that I need to tell you, and this is something that a lot of students don't do in on-campus or online classes. First thing you should do after watching this video is find your syllabus in Canvas. Open it, read it, keep it handy. It's very helpful. It's going to lay out details about your assignments, about procedures of mine in the class, all sorts of really crucial information. If you don't read your syllabus, you're going to be completely lost, right? Now, the other thing you need to know is as an online class, it's not the kind of thing, some students think, oh, in an online class, I'll just pop in there once a week, I'll see what the work is, I'll do it, boom, I'm done. You need to pop in here a lot. It's a discussion-based course. We're going to do a lot of interacting with each other. Just checking in, say, every Thursday is not going to cut it. And so there's a couple things you guys need to know about navigating this course. Some of you might already have taken classes that use Canvas before. And you might know that in the upper right-hand corner of your home Canvas page, there's a little checklist of assignments that are due at the end of that week for all of your classes. I've had students in the past who all they do is they check that little corner of the Canvas homepage and they say, okay, this is what's due this week. I'll start working on that. Boom, I'm done. You're not going to thrive. You're not going to succeed in this class if that's all you do. You need to go to our class homepage to get the full Individual and Society Humanities 205 experience. When you go to our class homepage, you'll see a series of weekly modules that have a lot of detail in them, a lot of instructions, a lot of activities. Each week a new module will open up that'll have a lot of information in there, your assignments, but also a lot of other supplementary materials, some reading materials, some other visual materials to help you engage in what we're talking about each week. In Canvas, the only things that show up in that little to-do section on the main Canvas page are things that are due within a week. You'll find in these modules, I'll post assignments that might not be due until a month down the road, but I want to post them early so you have plenty of time to work on those. If you only check the little to-do section on the Canvas homepage, you're not going to find out about those assignments until a week before they're due. You're going to get upset. You won't have enough time to do those assignments well. Keep checking the weekly modules for the assignments and for all sorts of other information. Now, as you go into those modules, what you're going to find is a lot of information. And so, like I said, you need to check the class frequently. Just once a week is not going to do it. I want to talk about those assignments in a second, but I also want to let you guys know my job is to stay in touch with you. I know it might seem difficult because it's an online class and I'm sitting here wherever I'm working on the computer and you're off there at home or in the office or in the library somewhere doing your work, and we may never actually meet face to face. I will do my best to communicate with you. So there's a couple of ways to do that, right? On the syllabus, you'll notice I gave you my phone extension at the college, and that's fine. You're welcome to call me if you have questions. But also, I want you guys to use Canvas messaging or your K-mail, your Kirtland email, to contact me. I'll respond as soon as I can. And the other thing is, if you feel like you need some one-on-one communication with me, you've got some pressing issues that you want like an actual live conversation about, and you don't want to call me on the phone, for example, let me know, and we can set up an individual conference in Canvas where we can open up whatever you're comfortable with, a chat room for typing, to text, communicate. We can, if you have a webcam, we can do like a video chat even to talk about some things. I'm happy to do that at any point in the semester if you want to contact me that way. So I'm really good at communicating. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can, and so there you go. Now, I want to get into the assignments for the class with you. All right, so what you're going to do week to week and other bigger assignments. Now, like I said, you need to check those modules every week. And in almost every weekly module, you'll find some things that you'll see each week. And so I want to mention those first. Now, you should have a required textbook, right? It's called Power and Society. And one thing that you're going to do is you'll notice that almost every week, and this is all spelled out in the syllabus, what chapter you should be reading each week. All right. Almost every week, you'll have due at the end of that week, that Sunday at midnight, a chapter journal, where what I want you to do is to read that week's chapter. You'll notice in the instructions for the journal, it says turn in a journal about the chapter that corresponds with the week in this assignment. So what that means is if it's the chapter, if it's the week 3 chapter journal, then that means do a journal on chapter 3 in the book. What you'll do in these journals is not summarize the whole chapter. You don't need to tell me what happens in the chapter. I've read it. Hopefully you've read it. I want you to pinpoint one issue, one controversy, one topic in that chapter, and I want you to write about a page or two typed, okay, with your opinions about that chapter, about the issue that you found that really grabbed your interest. Again, not a summary. Don't tell me what happened. Tell me what you think about that chapter and that issue that you've chosen in that chapter. So those are going to be due each week. Every Sunday at midnight, you'll have 1 or 2 chapter journals that'll be due. It's all spelled out in the weekly module. Every week, like I said, we're going to do a lot of discussing with each other on a lot of issues. And most weeks, you'll have usually 2 discussion forums going each week, debating various issues that I think are relevant to the material in that chapter and to the issues that we want to look at that week. Now, you've probably done discussion forums before if you've done online classes. Like I said, there's going to be 2 most weeks in here, which is a little bit different. But I want us to really interact with each other and get involved. Now, there's some of the basics here that you guys need to know. Yeah, okay, you need to make a minimum of 3 posts each week in each forum. All right. The other thing that I need to stress is this is a discussion that goes on all week. So if you're, like, I'll tell you this, each discussion forum, as with all assignments in here, will be due final at midnight on the Sunday to end that week. I've had students in the past who will go in to these discussion forums at 11 p.m. on Sunday and do their 3 posts, and yay, I'm happy I did it. That's not going to help. That's not going to help us get a conversation going about those topics. So what I want you to do is to go in there and make sure that your first post each week in each discussion forum is made no later than midnight on Wednesday. So that discussion forum will open when the week begins. By midnight on Wednesday, you make your first post. Then you make at least 2 more posts during the week responding to other students, right? But I want these posts to be substantial. You can't just say, oh, I agree. I never thought of it that way. I'm looking for substantial, informed conversation here. I want us to really sink our teeth into this stuff. Now, there's 2 things you need to know. Apparently, there are some online instructors who just sit back and let these forums take shape and just watch. I'm going to get involved. I'm going to discuss this stuff with you. I will challenge you at times. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a human being just like you. I can get involved in this conversation as well. What we all need to remember is we need to respect each other. Some of the topics we'll discuss can be pretty controversial. They can be challenging. There will be opinions that you'll be asked to express that other people will disagree with. That's okay, as long as we stay respectful. If I disagree with you and something you say, I'll let you know, but I certainly will never criticize someone for thinking differently than I do. I will never tell someone they are flat out wrong or that they're stupid or whatever disrespectful terminology you want to use, right? These are fun, interactive ways to really sink into the material. And speaking of fun interaction, one other thing that you'll see most weeks is a presentation using a software called SoftChalk. I love these. These SoftChalk presentations are fun. They've got a lot of great activities in them to help you thinking more deeply about some issues that we're talking about that week. And some of these will have activities in there that will help you earn some points towards your grade. They're small activities. None of them are huge. None of them are worth a ton of points. But they will help you to interact with the material in ways that's meaningful and will actually give you some points. What you need to make sure you do is in the Start Here module, you need to read the student guide to viewing SoftChalk presentations because there are certain, for example, there are certain browsers, web browsers, that work better than others for SoftChalk. There's instructions on how to finish these activities, how to submit these activities in the presentations once they're done. These are a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these. I hope you get a kick out of those. Now, there's some other assignments we need to talk about that are a little bigger, and then we'll wrap this video up, right? There's an assignment that I love. I think it is my favorite assignment by far, and I think it's so important and so crucial. I'm going to record an entire second video about this assignment in a second, and that's called the Service Learning Project. You may have already read about this if you've read the syllabus. Like I said, we're going to talk about that more in another video in just a second. You're going to write 3 short papers for me, all described in the syllabus. All will be described in great detail when they're assigned in the course, week to week. 2 of these papers are going to deal with that Service Learning Project I just mentioned that I'll talk about in another video. One of them is a lot of fun. The 3rd paper you'll write is going to be asking you to describe how a certain movie, like a Hollywood movie, I'll give you some choices, reflects various social issues that we're debating in the class. It's a lot of fun. You'll see more on that as we go. There's 2 other assignments that relate to the Service Learning Project, which again I'll talk about in another video. There's a final reflective paper and a group presentation, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The only other things I want to let you know right now is one, it seems to happen most semesters now, I'm going to have a lot of students this semester. Well over 150 students, several classes, more than I should probably be teaching, but I'm having so much fun teaching, I just love to do it. But you need to realize the assignments are due on midnight each Sunday. I hope you'll be patient with me. I always work as hard as I can to get graded material back to my students as soon as I can physically do it. But I'm going to be very busy this semester. So if you turn something in on midnight, on a Sunday at midnight, and it hasn't come back to you graded within a day, sometimes within 2 days, know that I'm working on it. I'm going to get it back to you as quickly as I can. Just do me a favor and don't send me an angry email that Monday morning saying, I turned this in 8 hours ago, why isn't it graded yet? I'm doing my best. I really don't want you to wait, but I'm going to try to get this stuff back as quickly as I can. Now, you've sat through almost a 20-minute video with me, and so I want to reward you. I want to offer you guys a chance to prove that you've seen this video and to get you guys started off on the right foot this semester. So here's what I want you to do. Since you've seen this video, I'm going to give you a secret mystery number. And what you need to do is by Sunday night at the end of week 1 of this semester, by midnight on Sunday night at the end of week 1, send me an email message or a Canvas message with this secret number in it. If you do that, you'll get extra credit points to start your semester off. That secret number is 531. 531. Send me that secret number over an email and you'll get the semester started off on the right foot. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I'll see you again in a second video on the Surface Learning Project. Thanks.